So I have a process video of my painting with my ferns, stamping with my ferns. And this one I have used some distress ink. It's vintage photo, and I've just wiped some on my work surface and sprayed it with some water and dipped my fern into the ink, and then put the ink on the page. Some of the pages took the ink better. It's not a really definite print of the fern, but you can definitely tell it's a fern. It's more like an abstract type fern. Some of the pages didn't take the ink really well at all, but the this is the writing paper, just copy paper, and it did pretty good with it. And let's see, what have we next? Then we did another one of the ferns, and it reacted the same way. It wasn't a real fine, definite print, but it was, you could tell that it was a fern. This paper was a little bit thicker than the copy paper, and so it did a little bit better with holding the ink. Let's see. I didn't mind that it wasn't real fine, detailed. On this one, this is the mixed media paper, and it held it really well. That, I guess, only stands to reason. That's a really nice print. So the better quality your paper, the better print you're going to get by using it with, it's kind of like a watercolor effect with putting the ink down on your paper or on your work surface and then spritzing it. It makes like a watercolor. So let's see, what are we doing here? I have decided that maybe if I put a piece of paper over it, I could get a better print because I could press the fern better. In some instances it did work. Others it didn't make a whole big difference. I do like printing with the Boston fern the best. And that's the Boston fern right here. The little pine one that we had just left dots. I couldn't get like the branches or anything. It just showed dots, which was pretty cool. It was a different effect. So we're still using the distress ink. Now we've changed over to some paint and distress ink. What I did was I had my distress ink with my water, and then I put some paint in it and mixed it all together. So we got a little bit different color. This is vellum. You can't see here, but boy, did it shows up pretty nice. I was happy with that. I think adding the paint to it made it, of course, thicker. So in general, we got a better print with that than what we did with just the watercolor. Look, and again on the printer paper, the copy paper. I've done this before with stamping with leaves and flowers and stuff, and I've had good luck. And I think this was pretty effective in this journal too. I think it looks really nice. I have another piece of the mixed media paper. And these papers that you see that I'm putting over top of, I do end up using those papers as, like papers. I added more to it, to each one of them. I add more to it. And then I use those for writing papers, extra writing spots in my journal. Here we've changed over to just paint. So I laid my fern down and I took a paintbrush and I painted all the little fronds or the branches or whatever you want to, whatever they're called, the little leaves, and then took them to my book. I did dry everything in between, but I cut all that out. There's a lot I cut out because it was way over an hour. And I know that we're not going to sit and watch this for an hour. So, and here we go again on the mixed media paper. I think this page, I filled the whole page with all the different ferns. You'll get to see the little pine branch here. So I had the pine branch, the Boston fern, and then the other fern, the 3 different pieces that I was using. The Boston fern wanted to stick a little. Here's the pine branch, little dots is what we're going to get, but it's cute. It's like really dainty and cute. There you have it. I liked it. I didn't like it with the watercolor, but I liked it better with the paint. I changed over to some tissue paper here because it was what I could grab and I needed more paper. I decided that I think when I get my book done, I'm going to take that tissue paper and I'm going to stamp it, print it with all these leaves, the ferns and the pine branch. And then I could tear it up and use it in my journals. This page turned out really nice. And like I said, I dried everything with my heat gun in between. I think this is an envelope. Got a nice print off that one. Okay, now we're going to go with the Versamark ink and the embossing powder, and it's gold embossing powder. So I just laid my fern ink right side up on a piece of paper and took the ink pad to it and squished ink all over it. And of course stamped it onto my surface and then applied the embossing powder. I really like the way this turned out on this brown paper, and then I dried it with my heat gun, melted all the... This is some clear embossing powder. Oops, we went over that pretty fast. Anyhow, the clear embossing powder, it did okay. It's nothing that you're gonna, like, it's not gonna catch your eye like the gold did, but it did okay. This is the construction paper. It's not what it's called. I tried to think of what it's called. And it embossed quite well, I thought. Sorry, this is all off frame here. It was hard to get everything in frame. Yeah, I like that. And again, on the mixed media paper. Everything does better on the mixed media paper. And we're back to Versamark this time. We're going to do Versamark and Pearlex. If you don't know what Pearlex is, it's a mica powder. It shimmers, and you apply it with a cotton ball and over top of the Versamark, and it sticks to the Versamark. It adheres to the Versamark. I used, on this back cover, I used gold and interference green. It looks pretty on film here, but to see it in person, it's better yet. I think this is the interference green that I'm using right here, and then I applied some gold. I added in more after I got this one done and stamped a few more. So if I were to judge these different techniques, I would say my favorite probably was the gold embossing. Then the next would be the green paint that I did. After that would probably be my Pearlex, then the yellow paint with the distress ink that I mixed up, and then the watercolor, just the distress ink would probably be the last. Not that I didn't like it, but it was not as dramatic, I think, is why I would place it so low. But overall, I really liked doing this with all of them, all the techniques. I like to see the different ones and how they respond to the papers. So here's a little flip through of what we accomplished. So thanks for watching, and maybe you'll have a chance that you can gather some branches, ferns, leaves from nature and do some echo printing in this form, whether it's with embossing or just with a watercolor effect. It's fun. Give it a try. So hit like and subscribe if you want to see the future developments in this journal. This journal is going to be called Ferns and Friends, and we've got quite a jump start on it here today. So see you soon.